pretty good. Turns out you can completely break this game with magic. What I think some people don't understand is that Elden Ring is only as hard as you want it to be. There's a spectrum of difficulty baked into the game itself depending on which tools you take advantage of, and this video will show you the easy end of that spectrum through the power of magic. I'll also go step by step on how you can do this for yourself. And quick spoiler warning, I'll be showing areas and bosses from these regions of the game. Let's do it. First, let's pick Astrologer for our starting class. It by far has the best stat distribution for a pure intelligence casting build, which is what we're going for. Some people might suggest Prisoner because it has a better starting spell, but I'll explain why that doesn't matter in a minute. Next, we just dive to the tutorial boss, arrive in Limgrave, kick this guy for being a dick, and then run over to the Site of Grace to unlock leveling and our horse. From here, we're going to ride south and pick up the Morning Star from this broken carriage. This is the earliest bleed weapon in the game, and luckily we have enough stats to use it if we two-hand it. We also want to get one gold pickled foul foot, and an easy one to get is right here on the beach near the start past this merchant. With these two items, we just need to get to Caelid, and the fastest way to do that is through this teleporter in the bushes next to the Third Church of Marika. We'll pop up here and then head south. You can go around this dragon if you want, but you can also just be brave and run between its legs. Right ahead is Fort Feroth, and next to the Site of Grace here is a giant screaming dragon. This is the reason we're here. It'll take a couple minutes, but we can kill this guy safely using the bleed from the Morning Star because bleed does a flat percentage of damage every time it procs, and in this case it means we'll do approximately 13,000 damage every time. Just before we kill him, we'll use the foul foot we collected to boost the runes we'll get. Be careful not to use this too early though, since it may run out before you finish killing him. And then boom, an easy 96,000 runes within 15 minutes of starting the game. That's enough for a whopping 29 levels. I split it between mind and intelligence, and I got my intelligence up to 40. Keep in mind this works for any starting class or build if you want a quick start. Two more things to grab while we're here. We'll ride over to the swamp in the center of Caelid to the west of us, and here we can find the meteorite staff, and right next to it we can find the rock sling spell to go with it. This is an incredible starting staff. It can't be leveled, but it doesn't need to be, because it already starts with an S scaling for intelligence, making it by far the best pick for early game. It also boosts damage to gravity spells, which includes rock sling. The last thing we'll need to get us started is the magic glint blade sorcery. This was the starting spell for the prisoner class, but we can actually just ride and get it for ourselves in about 5 minutes. If we head back to Limgrave, we can skip the entirety of Stormvale Castle by riding along its right edge. There's a path that takes us to Liurnia with no boss kills necessary. From there, we just need to ride up to the Church of Vows, speak to the Turtle Pope, buy magic glint blade, and we're done. In terms of raw power, we are now strong enough to do most of the game already. That's how strong magic is. Rock Sling is fantastic because it's cheap, has high damage, does splash damage, and can even break the stances of enemies. For example, the giant dogs in Caelid aren't even a threat anymore. Magic Glint Blade is also fantastic for how much damage it can do with an even lower FP cost. Like, we just started the game, and look at the damage we're doing. Also, as you can see, there's a slight delay between the cast itself and when the magic sword shoots out. This can be especially useful for a couple reasons. First, this enables us to queue up 5 or 6 casts for 0 stamina cost before the enemy even sees us. Second, some bosses and enemies are programmed to dodge when you cast spells, but they only dodge for the cast, not when the magic itself comes out. So, they dodge 5 seconds too early and then get hit by all the magic at once. In summary, both of these spells are amazing and already showcase how powerful magic can be, but this is just the beginning. From here, you're free to take your time and enjoy crushing the early game. The main goal is to level up enough to get to 60 intelligence while collecting a few items along the way. And I want to emphasize that you can do all of this while only needing to kill a few bosses. That's part of why I said in my review that this is the most accessible FromSoft game. You can get so strong so early with minimal fighting. To help speed this process up, I'd recommend grabbing the Golden Scarab Talisman from this cave here in Caelid. Its entrance is a bit hidden on the side of this cliff, but once you've completed it, this talisman gives you a 20% boost to rune gains. If you really want to speed up the process of leveling, grinding these little guys by the dragon on the bridge from earlier is your best bet, and you'll get 1300 runes per kill. Let's skip ahead though to get the rest of the components of this build. For this part, you do actually have to kill a few bosses, but they're not too bad. First are the 2 crystal guys in this cave here. Just use Rock Sling and they'll break apart incredibly fast. Going up the elevator after them brings us to a chest that gives us the Terra Magicus spell. It allows us to create a magic circle on the ground that grants us a 35% boost to magic while we're standing in it. Next, just ride over to the Tree avatar here on the map. Again, as you can see, Magic Glint Blade is incredibly good and makes this whole process stupidly easy. After killing him, we get the Magic Shrouding Crack tier, which gives us a 20% boost to magic damage after drinking it. After that, come to this area on the map and fight the Deathbird boss. This gets us the Red Feathered Branch Sword Talisman, which gives us another 20% boost to damage when our health is low. It's like the Red Tear Stone from past games. Next, we can get a better staff from Celia if we kill the 2 guys in this side room. They aren't too tough with Magic Glint Blade because they won't dodge properly. This gives us access to a chest, which gives us Lusat's Glintstone Staff. This staff has extra high magic scaling with the trade-off of increased FP costs, but those increased costs won't actually matter. We can also upgrade this to +6 by collecting Somber Smithing Stones, and as a reminder, the most reliable way to find these stones are from the mines marked on the map with the orange circles. The last two things we need can be found in the Altus Plateau region, and in case you didn't know, you can access this area without needing to kill any bosses if you instead just collect both halves of the Dectus medallion from these two forts on the map. Anyway, once we're here, right over to this spot on the map and fight an ulcerated tree spirit. Of all the mandatory fights to bring our build together, this is the toughest, but it's still not that bad if you just keep moving on horseback. After killing it, we get the Cerulean Hidden Tear, which gives us infinite FP for 10 seconds. This component right here is the real reason this build works. It's huge. Lastly, to bring all of this together, we just need to ride up and get the spell that this was all for. There are 2 bosses along the way, but we can just ride past them. At the end, we'll find this crystal guy hanging out, stare deeply into his non-existent eyes, and get the Comet Azure spell. We did it. Finally, after all that work, it's time to test it out. Okay. Maybe that was a fluke. Let's try again. Alright, hold on. That's pretty strong, but you know, this is early game. Surely wouldn't work on someone as strong as Radahn. Wow. Okay, this is strong. But we can do better. There's still more we can add to this setup to increase our damage even further. First, we can grab the Graven School Talisman from Rhea Lucaria for a minor boost to all sorceries. Next, we can run over here and grab the Jellyfish Shield. Its weapon art is called Contagious Fury, and it provides a 20% damage boost for 30 seconds after using it. Side note, I didn't have enough strength to use it, which is necessary to receive the buff, but two-handing it pushed me over the minimum requirement, and then it worked. And one more thing, make sure you don't two-hand your staff after using the skill because the Jellyfish buff will be removed if the shield doesn't remain in your offhands. After that, we need to complete the NPC Sellen's questline. There's a lot of steps involved for this one that I won't go over in this video, but after you finish it, return to where you received Comet Azure. There you'll find the Azure Glintstone armor set, and the helmet for this set boosts the damage of Comet Azure specifically. Lastly, we can bump our staff up to +9 by collecting Somber Smithing Stones from inside the city, as well as Northern Caelid. And with that, we are finally done. Here's a quick summary of all the components that make this work. Let's test it out. Okay, hold on. Surely wouldn't work on like, you know, a real boss in the main story. Surely wouldn't work on this guy. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna say this is pretty busted. Have fun pressing one button to beat entire boss fights in seconds. And we could take this even further by leveling up our weapon to +10, finding a stronger version of the Graven Talisman, and leveling up our intelligence further. However, I feel like we've already crossed the overkill threshold, so these steps probably aren't necessary. It is worth noting though that this won't work on every boss. If it's too fast or jumps around a lot, it's pretty easy to miss entirely. But even with that caveat, I'd say it still works the majority of the time. And remember, you can use spirit summons to help you set it up so that the bosses focus on them instead of you while you're casting it. This is part of why I love FromSoft games. They have this reputation for being hard, but they don't have to be. If you take advantage of the tools they give you and are willing to engage and learn about the mechanics of the game, you can make this game incredibly easy. There's something really satisfying about the process of bringing a build like this together and seeing the work pay off. I have a lot of passion for this game and FromSoft as a whole, and I genuinely want everyone to experience these games. I hope videos like this make it clear that regardless of your mechanical skill level, you can play and beat these games. There's basically always an easy solution to any fight if you're willing to experiment a bit. But yeah, thanks for watching, and subscribe for more Elden Ring shenanigans. Take it easy.